Welcome back to the Business Simple podcast. It's your host, James. Today, I am joined with Tristin Anderson, the founder, I suppose, of the famous Smokey T's, one of my favorite restaurants in Christchurch. Awesome in terms of smoke meat and things like that. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to teach me how to nail my brisket in this podcast, but I'm really excited to hear your story. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, well, good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, yes. Like I said, I've been there's a real art to obviously what you're doing. I'm excited to hear your story and how you got there. I've gone and got myself like a smoker. Someone convinced me. We were at a bit of a lunch and I had a few too many beers to buy this broil can thing. I haven't figured it out, eh? I haven't got it at all.
Lit a fire in it.
It's like a pellet
okay.
smoker.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, I definitely haven't got it on lock. But yeah, I think each week I do one every Sunday. It's quite like, and because you mentioned before we came in here, you became quite obsessed with it and like you really enjoyed it. It's quite therapeutic. You sort of just wake up, I've got like a brisket, I season it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think
cool.
with the, the sort of smoker that you're talking about, it's designed for people that don't have much time,
Yeah.
It's set and forget.
Yeah.
You're still getting a lick of flavour onto the food as well, you know, so it's not just tasting like a boring roast or anything like that, and you can change your pellets and adapt like that, whack some different cook times on there and see how you go, you know?
Yeah.
It's all fun, just learning anything in life, isn't it?
And like, I just find it's fun. Like I was fasting on Sunday and I still just cooked one. Because I just like doing it every week, and like, I've got a 9-month-old, and he loves it. He eats heaps of meat.
Soft.
Yeah, and he sits there and just melts brisket. It's his favorite food on the planet.
Yeah.
And because he eats a bit of steak and lamb and stuff like that too, but brisket because you can kind of pull it apart a little bit and that sort of thing. He loves it. So
Yeah.
It's real cool.
And I mean, a lot of kids' go-tos are pasta because it's soft and fish.
Yeah.
That stuff, especially when they are a lot younger.
Yeah.
And I mean, even right through to sort of 10 years of age, my son wasn't really big into steak. He loves steak now. Yeah. But, just that jaw power that's required to, chew through it. And you don't get that with your slow cuts, like the brisket and whatnot. And then with, that was probably one of the coolest things that I'd heard at the restaurant as well. Like one of the parents come in and had a son with him, and he had just got player of the day and said, where do you want to go for lunch? And he said Smokey T's. Yeah. And here's this 10-year-old boy, giving us the big ups that's where he wanted to go for lunch. It was like, I
read an interview thing that you guys had done before we came in here. I was doing a bit of homework, and you guys mentioned that whole what does a good day look like, and both you and your brother both brought up that lots of families, lots of that sort of feel coming through the restaurant. That appears to be quite a big thing for you guys.
Yeah, and that's barbecue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're able to cook, especially on our big girls. You get a lot of meat on. Yeah. And then creating that family community buzz around it. And I feel like we hit that, nailed that on the head. There is all the different ethnicities coming through and walks of life, and it's our home. We spend so much time there. Especially for the first 5 years, it was 18 hours a day, just satched in it. And but not one day did I wake up and go, oh man, I've got to go do this again. It's just it's always been a vibe. It's always been fun. And I think what have we got? We've got 38 staff now, and we just treat it like a big family, and get the job done. Everyone's as important as each other. We all know our roles, and obviously, and have fun doing it.
Yeah, cool. 38's a big team. It's a big team. Yeah. So talk me through then. Obviously, it's taken some time to get there from where you are now. How did you first get into it, and what was like what's your story, I suppose, growing the business to where it is now?
So my brother was playing professional footy over in Japan. He was there for about 17 years in total. We always, over the years, talked about doing something together. And at this stage, I think I was maybe 18 years into chefing. I was an executive chef for a group, and what we were doing is I think I did 6 new opens after the earthquake.
Yep.
So I got to use someone else's money to train myself in terms of menu engineering, building a team, costings, all that sort of jazz.
Yep.
So it gave me a real good understanding of the numbers that's involved in being able to sort of get a business mind about how to conduct that and manage people, you know?
Because it's quite a big step, right? Like it's going from the...
Undies, definitely. And so we sort of, we were smoking a little bit of fish at the restaurant, and then I hadn't really seen anything online, and then I walked through one of the stores, I think it was like Bunnings or something, brought myself a small little fire grill thing, and then away we went, and then away I went, and then the more research I started doing, I could see obviously where it originated from, how appealing it was, the flavour that was left in my mouth after cooking, and wanting more of it. So I would be cooking more of it, so I could, you know, and then it just manifests, like, you know, I said to the bro, I think I've got this thing that, you know, I'm into hard. And then he flew home and said, let's do it.
Yeah, man.
And we just went balls deep, and here we are. I think we've been at Cashel Street for 7 years, and then we were about a year, 2 years before that, just running around in a caravan, slinging meat. Feeding the people.
Good. And so talk me through those early days, because that's interesting. So you mentioned before, like you were, especially when it first started, you were working during the day, smoking overnight and that sort of thing. What was that all like?
It was absolute. I don't know, like when you're so tunnel vision, and you're so like become so into something, it just takes over. So it doesn't feel like, you know, you have to, or you want to, you know, and so the big days were nothing, you know. Eventually they caught up.
They do.
As we get older, you know. The old 18-hour day is not as easy as what the 18-hour day used to be. So the early days was just full noise, tunnel vision, living and breathing barbecue, you know, to make sure that we would be able to nail it on a commercial scale as well. So we started running and doing a few competitions around the country with the New Zealand Barbecue Alliance. So they'd throw big events like meat stock and things, and we were picking up some good trophies, and nice. So we knew that we were on to something. And then all of our profiles that was coming from our barbecue I was creating, so our sauces and our rubs and our glaze were being well received as well. So we were able to just start flying.
Nice. And because talk me through that. That's a really interesting thing. Like your is it the barbecue sauce that you guys? Or it's like a tomato barbecue kind of sauce thing. Fucking awesome. It's so good. I remember going into the restaurant once and like eating it and being like, this is ridiculously good, and then buying it and bringing it home and just putting it on everything for like a month, like all the time. Awesome. What's it been like going into that kind of like fast moving consumer goods as well as the restaurant? Like, have you ever felt overwhelmed by doing all the stuff at once, or is it just doing what you like doing?
No, I suppose when it comes down to when we're talking about the team before as well, like having the team and everyone knowing their roles and whatnot sort of takes the pressure off me as well, as long as the communication's there. You know, everything's achievable, and I've got lucky to have such a good team. So with the condiment side of Smokey T, so to speak, and the rubs, how they come about was COVID the restaurant had to shut its doors, and we needed a source of income.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we're like, let's get this bad boy rolling, because the only place we were allowed to go is the supermarket.
Yeah.
So we got busy during those times. So when we come out, we had another thing.
Yeah.
And it's the same with our online presence and our ordering systems, and all of that was created through that time, and that's where we put all of our energy, because we had time to put some energy into it, and it's been very beneficial now. Like we are throwing out lots of takeaways, and they're not throwing it out, but lots of base sales come from the takeaway game, and it's she's all going.
What is what's product like offering like Uber Eats and things like that done for your business? Is that a good thing? Is that something that you haven't liked? Because I know you guys are on there only because I order off it probably like once a week. But like, so is that like, because I know they can take quite a big cart and things like that. Like, how have you found that?
So I suppose Uber Eats there's no margin in it really. So I mean, what it does is it keeps your product fresh.
Yeah.
It's brand exposure.
Yeah.
And the people's trends have changed a hell of a lot over, say the last 5 years. We've found that casual dining's really popular.
Yeah.
People want that casual buzz, affordable pricing.
Yeah.
And lots of people just want to stay at home and get it, rather than getting all the kids in the car and doing that buzz. So it's important to adapt.
Yeah.
And to be able to see where you need to adapt and things like that.
Yeah.
What we've been working on is a background system, and it's called Pumped, which they only charge us 8%. But you can click on our website and order takeaway delivered to your door at the restaurant prices.
Yeah,
not the Uber Eats prices. So the Uber Eats price is a little higher.
Yeah, because you need to offset the cost of
but you just can't. And you don't want to charge that, but it's pretty loose. But it's cash flow, and it's if it's keeping one of my other staff members' wages paid or whatever it be, then it's just what you have to do.
Yeah.
When they started building Te Kaha on our doorstep, we had this big wall that went up between us and the city.
Mm-hmm.
So our lunches changed a bit. We used to have 15, 20 lime scooters out the front during lunchtime.
Yeah, right.
And so we felt a little shift in the lunch, and that's part of, movement in the area.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to redo the roads and whatnot, and they've been doing a fantastic job. And we're nearly there now, So
it'll be so good once it's done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, lots of people walk around the landmark, and we're right there. Yeah. So we will be, tied back into the city again. Which is
once
going to be
opens,
great.
Yeah. It'll be huge.
Yeah, but our dinners are still solid. We're putting through a lot. I mean, what are we? Last week was 3.2 ton of meat. Went through the smokers last week. So, it's good.
Do you ever like when you were starting out and you were smoking meat at night and then selling it during the day and doing that sort of thing? Do you ever think you'd get to a point of doing 3.2 ton of meat a week?
Did I? Not really. I don't think to me it's never been about money. It's more been about, I don't know, like, obviously everyone wants to make money. Yeah. But everyone also wants to be doing what they love. Everybody wants to, it's the package. Yeah. And you want people to enjoy what you do. Yeah. And people enjoy what we do. So to me, it just ticks the list, and it just feels good. So, and it's good to be here now to say, that we are doing 3.2 ton, and I don't feel like I'm running buckets of water up a hill for 18 hours a day still, But during those times, man, and like you asked before about the early story, when I say tunnel vision and stuff, you just do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
You know, like we were getting rolled by, a couple of gangs for, what would they get us? Over a year and a half, I think we got done 5 times at the restaurant, and they take all of our, break into our fridges and squirt, fire extinguishers everywhere, and we'd turn up on a Saturday morning, and the place is just like white powder everywhere. We've got no mate, and I suppose this is where my brother's been awesome. He's like that little positive bubble, and we're like, right, let's go, bro.
Yeah.
Grab the broom, grab the cloths, wipe the surfaces. We go again. It's Saturday. We've got 200 people in the book, and they're going to be here in 5 hours time.
Yeah,
and we just bust our chops again. And I don't know, just not dwelling on those things.
Honestly, I need to figure out how many the actual number is, but I probably have interviewed, I'd guess, maybe 25 people, most of which are from Christchurch and run businesses, and they've all grown to a point that's pretty cool, and they're doing cool stuff. And all of them have the same, it doesn't matter whether they're like a property developer or this or that. They've all got like a really strong work ethic story, but none of them have ever really felt like it was work. I can relate to that really well. It's like, it's just, you just do it. You don't it's not like you're like, and you don't even really know the hours you're working until you look back. You don't realize in the time. You just wake up and do shit and then go to sleep and then wake up and do it again. And then you move closer and closer to where you're trying to go. You do more of what you love. And but then also all of them have that, it's shit sometimes. It's just the way that it is. It's the way business is. And if it wasn't, there'd be a million Smokey Ts. Because the thing that kind of, I think, filters the people out that really love what they do and really want to do it versus the people who just kind of want to do it to make money is the shit times. Because if you're just doing it to make money, you'd quit. Because why would you put up with that? Why would you go 5 times and however long and you turn up and you'd stop. You'd be like, I can't bother with this if it was about the money. But if you've got a bigger vision or something you're pushing towards, that's what keeps you moving.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it was funny because one of my chefs actually got a photo of the product that had gone, I think it was about maybe $7,000 worth of meat that had gone bush over the night. And he got a photo the next morning from someone saying, how much is this worth? And the beef that we cook we're the only restaurant in the country that has ocean beef that comes from the 5-star Ashburton lot.
Yeah.
And he's got a big slab of one of our briskets, and he wants his car fixed, so he's trying to pay in brisket. So yeah, we got a few tip offs and a few leads there. So we got there in the end,
Yeah. So they weren't after like the business anyway. They literally were just there to steal product and sell it.
I suppose. Everyone's trying to. Yeah. Everyone has their different ways of hustling, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell brisket. He's trying to take it. It's like tug of war. But that's all right.
Yeah, nice. And talk to me about some of those, like you mentioned, being the only restaurant in New Zealand that gets this product in.
Yeah.
How much is the product a part of what you do and like the relationships with suppliers and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I believe the Ansco ocean beef that we use is the best gear for what we do in the country. Back at the start, I was flying around up to the North Island with it and competing using the ocean beef. And, we were getting first place, and we had Australian teams flying in with their Wagyu and stuff like that. So we're using 120-day grain-finished beef. And the reason I like it is because it still has a beefy taste where, sometimes the Wagyu and anything a bit more tends to lose that beefy flavour, it's just more fat orientated. So, that's why we love the ocean beef. It's very good for the conditions, the smoking conditions, because the fat pockets through the protein, the marbling through it, just breaks down and renders nicely. And it's a lot more forgiving than say a grass fed brisket.
Cool. How interesting. And how do you control consistency across 3.2 tons of meat in a week?
I I suppose that comes down to my staff.
Yep.
And, two of my boys, they've been with me for probably 12 years now, and they've worked in 3 or 4 different kitchens for me.
Yeah, cool.
So trust and yeah, like it gets to a stage where you can't touch everything.
Yeah.
But, the first 5 years, you just have to touch everything. And so that's in business, it's learning when you can actually start pulling back a bit and concentrating on other things. It gets to a point where now it's systems that are taking care of the product more so as well, it's got to formulate itself.
Yeah.
Because everything does keep getting bigger and it's a great challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Has there been some and some of them you'll be able to share, some of them you won't, but have there ever been some like errors that you've made in people and systems and things like that have caused you some headaches along the way as you've been trying stuff?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, even before, so when we were testing before we started going commercial, I'd have friends at my house waiting to eat dinner, and the brisket wouldn't turn. So, it was coming off at midnight.
Yeah.
And there was just a few more beersies involved. So everyone was pretty happy still, but it was midnight when everyone got fed, you know.
Yeah.
Just things like that, you know. We had it dialed up pretty early in terms of how everything needed to be product-wise, and that just come through from the years of being a chef, I've always been able to feed lots of people.
Yep.
And what I believe quality, consistent products over the years. Every menu that I've designed and engineered has been successful in every venue, and and they're all still operating today. Some still the same menu, or a lot of the stuff on the menu is still the same. Maybe not executed to
quite the same way.
But and to go back to the question, it's error. No, we're pretty clean.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to know. And I think probably what you do that maybe allows you to do that so well is you think about, you look at some of these restaurants, you look at their menus or you look at what they do and there's, 100 things on there or whatever it is. So it becomes so hard to create that consistency.
Yeah.
There's probably a message that's like for wider business where it's like doing one thing extremely well or a couple of things extremely well rather than trying to do 100 things.
Yeah.
That probably allows for more of that consistency.
We're brunch venue, but we're also open to run a nightclub.
Yeah, 100%.
And don't get me wrong, some spots have to do that. I mean, the Terrace, they, it's big rent. It's those big cogs, and you can actually get away with it. But you to do something and specialise in something, that's a different story too. Like where we are in Cashel Street, we are we're a destination.
Yeah, people come to you.
We're not location. And hopefully Te Kaha gives us a mix of the both, and we always revert to the story. And if you would go, say you're in Japan and you're walking down the street and you walk into this rundown building with half the roof's hanging off and the paint job's shoddy.
Yeah. And
there's 2,000 people inside eating ramen. They're not there because of the state of the building.
Yeah.
They're there because the ramen is shit hot. It's the best ramen you can get, right?
Yeah.
So we sort of take that story and with the Smokey T bars is, when we first started, we put the food truck out the back in that building. It was running as an art gallery. Yeah. We started with 20 seats. Every week we added another 10 seats. Yeah. And now we're up to 180 seats.
Yeah, right.
And we flip those twice a night on later in the week. We flip those seats twice a night.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah, no, it's cool.
Real cool, eh?
Yeah.
What a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have been like the things that coming from being a chef to this business owner, what have been the things you've struggled with the most? The like changes to your work schedule and that sort of thing?
To be fair, I've always taken my job. I've actually found it easier owning my own business than working for somebody else because I care so much about what I do and who I am and how I'm rubbing off on people, and probably too much sometimes.
Yeah.
And that was probably, a little bit of a downfall in terms of it took me a while to adjust to understand how mentally, trying to keep somebody else's books tidy, where's my 1%? That 1%'s 60 grand.
Yeah.
And you're like, is.
Yeah.
But no one can come to me and say, where's my 1%? So I'm actually a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
And until you find that 1% for that person, then you can relax. But, trying to find it can be quite stressful,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I sort of believe in, I think my brother's the same as well. Nath is, you can only control what you can control.
Yeah.
And as long as you are taking care of, all you can, then that's all you can do. Like there's times where it is out of your hands, and you've just got to, let it play out, and control it and try to work with what it is, And I mean that's just problem solving, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, look at COVID. That's such a good example for you guys, right? It's like you can't control that. But hospitality, gyms, places like that got hammered throughout that period of time.
Yeah.
And now you guys are in supermarkets every time I turn up there. As
sure.
a result of that. So I think it takes a unique type of person to look at something like that and go, yeah, sweet, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to... I remember doing meetings online during COVID, signing new clients in that period and just being like, I don't reckon there's anyone signing clients right now. But we had a butcher that we signed up and we managed to build them an online store. This was a good example of something strange. During COVID, so he contacted me 3 days into COVID. We had an online website up about a week later. They did 55 grand in meat sales in their first week on the internet. Yeah. And because you're like, no one wanted supermarket meat. And they figured out a way to be able to do it less like contactless. You'd basically queue up and they had all the packets of what you'd ordered inside. Someone in a hazmat suit would walk out and hand it to you in your car. And it was, And so it was like that kind of innovation was cool. And this was a person who looked at it and went, I'm going to spend money now when everyone else is battening down the hatches. He got a pretty good deal because I didn't have much else going on. So I was like, mate, any work you've got, any work you've got for us, we'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we wound up spending like $1,500 on Facebook ads and doing over $100,000 in meat sales off it.
Yeah,
so he's
cool.
wrapped. And so that kind of thing is unique. His online store still runs today. They still do orders through it. And so it's just one of those, making the most of those opportunities is really cool.
Yeah, and ticking your list, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm real big pen and paper. So like every week, every day, pen and paper comes out, do my list and tick it and blah, blah, blah. I just find... with my phone, things get lost in your notes and whatnot. So there's something quite therapeutic about being old school like that, Yeah. And once again, during those times that come your way, like communication, like I remember composing a letter to my landlord, telling him my financial state.
Yeah.
And, and we were early days, we hadn't even had a real good crack at good business yet, and
every episode.
That's an alarm, mate, telling me I've got a podcast. I would have been late if I had to listen to that.
That's funny, yes.
Yeah. So, I composed this letter, and sent it to my landlord. He ended up using that letter to submit to his banks regarding his lending, and he has 130 buildings on his property portfolio.
Wow.
And he uses that as a tool. So it helped him.
Yeah.
it helped me. He could get a clear understanding of where we were sitting at from a business point of view.
Yeah.
And it kept everything easy, you know, and just, that's just how it should be done.
Yeah. And I think you know, generally speaking, and we definitely run this model in here, it's like if someone's open and honest with you, you're always on their team because they're communicating with
Undies,
you.
man.
Yeah. They're not talking to you as hard. Yeah.
Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Own it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you can, what we're talking about can be used in anything in life, you know, like the old, you know, communication and, you know, being accountable is so important.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Were there ever any points where you sort of felt like I'm in pretty deep here coming from, because obviously it would have been quite a crash course.
So my brother and I, we're very giving, and we're like, I suppose, always sort of put others, you know, put others first. And so when we opened, we decided we were going to have family and friends get together. And I think we had no money, like no money.
Yeah.
And smell of an oily rag. And we invited 100 people to our opening.
Yeah.
Free food and I think we spent about $3,000 on this thing. So we sat down 2 days later and worked out how we were sitting. We're just about to open the doors, and we're like negative $15,000, and that was a lot of money for us, you know, because we both come from nothing. Like I was like, okay, so we're negative $15,000. So for the next, what was it? It was 6 weeks. We were losing $2,000 a week. Because the sales and versus wages and, you know, because it takes time to see what your numbers are going to be. And obviously, hey, we're here now trying to put your hand up, marketing, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. And then, so 6 weeks later, we're now 30.
Yeah, pretty much.
Minus $30,000.
Yeah.
And I get this phone call on a Friday morning, and it's this guy. So when we're in the food truck in Belfast, there was a guy that come up to the food truck window and we had just sold out. And he said, and I said, sorry, mate, I've got no food left. And he'd driven all the way from Rolleston. Yeah. And he was gutted. And he started walking back to his car, and we were cleaning down, and then I found one full rack of ribs. Yeah. So I run it over to his car. And I said, mate, I found one. I found one. Yeah. So I handed it to him, and he's like, I'll come pay for it. I said, no. You made the drive, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much for supporting us. Yeah. That fella ended up being the head for TV3 News. Yeah. He'd found out that we had opened up a restaurant in Cashel Street and wanted to do a feature. Yeah. So within half an hour of getting this phone call, he had had me mic'd up, all the film crews in front of me, and the doors did not stop swinging. I think we had, something like 55,000 online
visitors, like website visitors.
Website visitors. Yeah. And then, and then our socials started, the numbers started clipping after watching. Yeah. And then, and from that point, that was a big. So, moral of the story is it pays to do nice
good things. Yeah. I was going to say that because
it pays to be a good.
Yeah, I've got that many. If I think about like my story, I've got that many of those things, like those, and there's really critical moments that could have gone either of two ways, right? Like he could have never called you. He could have been sick that day. He could have had this pop up. Like there's a million scenarios where he doesn't contact you. Yeah, you don't even know what that road looks like if he doesn't. But it's I think about that all the time. Like some of the one of our biggest clients ever. It took me probably 4 months of like non-stop harassing this guy. And I was like, we're onto something. We need to do this. We're onto something. And that would have been worth unimaginable money, not just their account, but like what that's done for our brand in the market and that sort of thing. Yeah. And I don't know what it was. Like I have heaps of proposals I've sent where I haven't chased them flat stick and like, but this one I was like, no, we need to get this done. We have to do this. Yeah. And you just think like, what would the trajectory look like without that? what would these like little moments throughout your journey that could have gone either of two ways.
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then also just being balanced off doing the right thing by someone. So good.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
good. Yeah. You got to do that stuff where you can, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then, you know, now those boys are real close to us too, you know, like Bob and Woz, they're good people. Yeah.
Do you find you've got a lot of like that recurring customer base, a lot of people that come back?
Yeah, people come and go, you know, like obviously it's so hard, and what's been happening is with the price of everything, what we try to do is we try and hold and so you're not as profitable for, say, the next 8 months as what you were for the last 12, because there's so much fluctuation in the food prices and you know the cost of everything going up and stuff. You can't change your menu every week. You can't change. You're trying to feed family and communities, and you're trying to create consistency. And you signed a 10-year lease. You need to last 10 years, you know? Like, a lot of people open the doors and they just put that big price tag on whatever they're selling, and then they go, here it is. Oh, why is no one coming?
Yeah.
You know, I thought they'd like that $300,000 painting that I've put on the wall.
Yeah.
I want that on there.
yeah. They'd rather pay less for food or have it.
Yeah. I'd rather be taking a little bit of that home for later, you know?
It's a good motto. I like that stripped back, good, clean business mentality. It's like run it lean, run it for your customers, not for yourself. Like don't make decisions based on how you can buy a Lambo faster. Make them based on how you can build a community and someone who like a group of people who really believe in your product and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Everything else will sort itself out. It comes. You know, it's about your clientele. With that, then we've got a saying internally. It's customers don't need us, we need them. And it's like all of the people we deal with had businesses before we arrived. They were fine. They were all good. And sometimes just checking yourself like that and going, relax, buddy. Like, you think that, sure, you have some good success stories with some people and things like that, but they were successful before we arrived and they'll be successful after as well. So just reminding yourself, you don't have them, you don't exist. But,
for sure. Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. How cool. How do you find working with your brother?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's pretty, we have very similar vision, if not the same. We balance each other really well, you know, like in terms of strengths. We are prepared to adapt and learn together. We're, I suppose, pretty stressful environment for the last 8 years and not one bluey.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's just like he's probably one of the main ones that I would never let down, you know, and I believe vice versa. You know, we do it for each other. And, you know, and that's cool.
Yeah. Sam works here, my brother, and he's come on board. He's actually just cold calling for us. He just locks himself in a room and just rings people all day just to set up meetings and things like that. And it's so good he finished uni and needed something to do and didn't want to go back to working in bars and that sort of thing. And it's so good having someone you can count on in that way. Like I can just talk to him and be like, man, I really need you to bail me out with this. Like I need some new business meetings or I need whatever. And he personally, not even for his own financial gain or whatever, just wants to deliver because he's like family, you know. It's such a nice
definitely yeah and you know, lucky to have that, aren't I? 100%. And yourself, you know.
And so was your brother a part of the whole like let's start a business thing? Because you said he came back from playing rugby overseas. Was he did he want to do something with that, or was it you inspired? Like what was that process like?
I suppose, we had always talked about doing a business venture together, and it would be hospitality, you know. He was taking care of the marketing and stuff over there. He's very good with image and in terms of the look and how things need to play out that way, you know, where I'm on the flavour, on the taste, you know,
the product,
and I suppose that's what I was saying before about, you know, really sort of balancing each other.
Yeah.
He's always been a real. I'm not a risk taker.
Yeah.
He's a risk taker.
Yeah.
So taking the risk, he keeps me balanced. He's the little positive ball on my shoulder, keeping everything jivey and you know, he's my hype man, so to speak. You know, and you know, when the going gets tough, we get going together. You know?
Yeah. Cool. What a valuable thing to have. What are some things you've done because obviously you mentioned that 38-person team and then also running it like a family. What are some of the things you do to support that culture internally and the feel of the workplace? Because I mean, obviously you're going to be passionate, but all 38 of the people that you employ can't be as passionate as you are.
Yeah, so buy-in, that's what you're talking about really is how do you get them? And that just comes through, I mean, the way you manage or treating them, right?
Yeah.
Like if someone can talk to you like they are your brother.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you that I've got 22 brothers.
Yeah.
Like Nathan's my blood brother.
Yeah.
Then I've got another 22 brothers there. You know, like people that can talk to me about, you know, something that might be a bit challenging outside of work or opposite. They might be having a good time and they want to share it with me, you know. There's always, like, I mean, you know, the guys eat and drink together and whatnot, and it's their safe place. So it's their home away from home. It's not somewhere, and hospitality is a lot like a sport. So everyone has their positions and has to, especially when the going's on, you know, like you've got 300 people coming at you tonight. Yeah. They walk in the door, Maggie's about to greet them, and then they sit down, and then Tina comes over and takes their order. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then so it's important that they were greeted. It's important that Tina took their order. Yeah. Then the docket fires through to the kitchen. Then the kitchen has to execute that, you know. And they all want to do it for each other. So that creates that team sport as well as the family, you know. And every good team sport feels like a family too, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had many examples of hiring people that just didn't fit into that team or didn't have that mentality?
Oh, definitely.
What do you do? Like, how do you manage that?
How do I manage that? Yeah, I suppose in hospitality as well, like there is a lot of drinking culture and partying culture, drugs and whatnot, you know. Yeah. And we generally feed our next sort of, we'll call it bloodlines, come through connections, so through mates and whatnot. And we're just lucky that we had a lot of depth here in Christchurch to be able to pull out some of the best from different spots to come and work for us. They had obviously worked with me over the years as well, so they know how to operate, if that makes sense. So, but the ones that you're always going to get caught with are Ross and Apple. Yeah. And working with the Ross and Apple, you know, it's you got to do it properly, unfortunately, or you got a PG on your ass. And the thing is, like, I mean, we are so cruisy, bro. Yeah. Like, it takes so much for us to actually have to act. You know what I mean? If someone's slower, there can be a change in shifts. Yeah. You know, maybe a different position or something like that. But when it comes to the, you know, we're very giving, and if someone's taking the piss, then generally would pick up on it pretty fast, and they would get the message.
I think it's one of those ones where when you are running the business like a family, you also have this responsibility to protect the family too, right? And the rotten apples aren't good for the family.
No.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we're lucky. We haven't had many, and the ones that we have had, you know, we sit down with them. We run through their performance and say, hey, look, how you find it? You know, and some people just are different.
Yeah.
You know, they just completely don't get on the level, and But that's hospitality too, juggling personalities. You know, there's so many different walks of life in hospo. It's one of those catching sort of jobs that, you know, potentially you didn't go all the way at school, or you're looking for an easy sort of. So you might have, you know, I'd say 80% of people in hospitality have got ADHD. You know, it's that high functioning environment that you need to keep stimulated, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you almost want to be overstimulated, right?
Overstimulated, and you know, work night shifts and split shifts, and it's not easy, you know. So it is important that you're enjoying your environment when it is challenging like that, you know. Yeah,
for sure. And so you're, I suppose probably the next logical thing is like, what's next for you guys? Are you other locations? Are you more supermarket products? Are you more of what you're doing already that's working? What are you thinking about? What are you working on?
Yeah, so we've just activated. We actually did a really good pop-up in Ferrymead on Saturday, just been in the Heritage Park. They do it once a month in there.
Yeah.
And I think we sold out by 6:30.
Yeah, right.
We took double the food than we did last time. We sold out by 6:30 this Saturday. So next month we'll bring more.
Yeah.
So we're just activating the trailer a little bit more.
Yeah.
I've got a guy who's very good, who can support me with that. And then over the next 6 months, you will see another eatery bar from us, directly across the road from Smokey T's.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very funky.
Yeah.
Funky, fresh flavours. Big fireplace. So, watch the space.
That's exciting. Exciting. One other thing that I wanted to ask, just as we kind of head towards like the tail end of this episode, is Christchurch has this, and I don't know it probably the way that you would know, or like Max, who works with me, we were talking to before, understands it, where I'm not as intertwined in hospitality, obviously, as you, but there's this group of people that are all like a similar age, that are all doing really cool stuff. Like I think about the Bacon Brothers guys, and like we've met a couple of times with the guy on Spicy Boys, that hot sauce company and stuff. Yeah, they're all real like cool, innovative, disruptive Empire Chicken guys, like all these sorts of businesses that are doing stuff that's a little bit different. What's the community like for you in that, like owner of hospitality restaurant? And like, do you talk to them about what your challenges are and all that sort of thing?
Not necessarily that group, but I do have my groups. Like I'm actually going away with a group on Sunday. We're going down to Stewart Island on the Gravity fishing boat with Nate. Cool. So we've got 3 days down there, and that's Food by Fire, Rod from Base Pizza.
Oh, sure.
And that crew. And then you got Max from the 5th Street Pantry and Bones Pickles.
Yeah. That's the best hot sauce I reckon I've ever had.
You like that one?
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, so we're all going, and Josh, we're all going down there to do some fishing and some foraging and whatnot, which is going to be pretty sick, and we're super excited on that one. Yeah.
See, that, I mean, like that's a good example of, I mean, I listed off about 4 and you've listed off another 4 of these like really cool businesses, right? And they're all quite innovative and disruptive, and it's sort of like that post-earthquake sort of rebuild of the city's opened up all these opportunities. All this cool stuff's popped up as a result of it.
Definitely. And you know, you'd find that there's more offerings post-quake than there was pre-quake, you know, and there will continue to be more, like people taking the risks in hospo, you know. There'll be a lot going and there'll be a lot staying, you know, and I suppose with Smokey T's, we're here to stay. We want to be an institution in Christchurch, and continue to do what we do, you know, feed people properly, you know.
I would consider you guys to be an institution already. If you're not, you're definitely on that path to be there, you. Right? Like it's I have very few business, like I buy like that. Like I'm really, once I find a place I like, that's me. That's like I just repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's just so much easier. Like you're probably like me. In
Bar Yoko. I've got a name drop like Sean McGowan and Drew. They're top people. You know, like passionate people. I just can't go anywhere else. I'm just stuck on the Yoko. I told you that last night, bro.
They are. It is such a good offering there, actually, too. We're really lucky, I think. Like, I know that you look at a city like Auckland, for example, and they've got some really phenomenal hospitality offerings up there. But per capita and for city size, it feels like we've almost got too much choice, right? I used to work at the Dirty Land and Mexicanos. And like that whole offering and what they're now doing with King of Snake and Rocker and like all these awesome venues that are popping up everywhere,
top
right?
Tier, you know, like world class. You know, and it is world class. Like the level that Christchurch is executing for, you know, for hospitality now, it is there. You know, and there's some very good operators out there, and so it's so nice to be able to go to all these places in Christchurch. I shouldn't just say Bar Yoko because there is so many to choose from, and everyone's doing an outstanding job. Outstanding job.
One other question. So this is actually just for my own personal gain, but like 2-3 quick-fire tips for someone that smokes meat to make their meat taste better.
To make your meat taste better?
Yeah. Or cook it better or
get
whatever.
Get rid of your pellet grill.
Yeah. You reckon wood, that's the jam?
Wood or charcoal. Yeah. Barbecues Direct in Sydenham. They do a Oklahoma Joe Bronco. Yeah. That's what I cook on at home. Yeah. And you're pretty much one chimney of charcoal. Yeah. Dump that in. It'll sit for about 6 hours. So it's almost like a set and forget too. Yeah. You know. Use lump charcoal in it. It'll sit for like 6 hours at temperature with a couple of chunks of wood on it. Yeah. And then hand probe.
Oh, yeah.
Meat probe. Like even if you're not smoking meat. Yeah. If you've got a meat probe at home, even just if you're cooking a piece of chicken. Yeah. And you put that in there and it tells you what number you need that chicken to be cooked at. And you pull it off then. Yeah. Chicken's going to be juicy. Yeah, right. And it's not even rocket science. You know, like sometimes those simple things can be so effective. It's like, I mean, yes, barbecue can become a feel, especially with the briskets, and it is a bit of a process. We're boating now. It's a long cook, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, once again, it comes down to if I just prick it like that and it goes straight through and feels like butter. Yeah. If it doesn't, it needs longer. Yeah. You know, you're always trying to get it off because you're always pushing for time really with that sort of stuff because it is low and slow. Yeah. That's why they call it low and slow. You know? Yeah. There's
a bit of pressure in like, let's say you come around for dinner at 6 o'clock or whatever, like you mentioned, and you're trying to cook a brisket. It's pretty high pressure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You're out there and you got the probes in, it's not heating up. You're like, why the fuck is it not heating up? You're like,
So before when you asked about like stories, you know, like going wrong, like every service for 3 years, that pressure was there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that makes sense. Brisket turning. I'd have a brisket turning at 6 p.m. and then they'd smash through it and I'd have my next one ready for 6:30, if you know what I mean. So more wood on, ripping a wee bit more heat than usual and, you know, and it's just what you had to do. Now we're at the stage where we're doing a lot more volume too. You know, we've got these shams that sit at like 80, 85 degrees. Yeah. So the meat's resting. Yeah. And we're just constantly on top of our game so that that stress factor's sort of left the building a bit. You know, like we can start earlier and get it off earlier and just a bit easier on the system, you know?
Yeah. Something I've also noticed as well is, because like I said, I probably order, I'd say it'd be once every 2 weeks max from you guys. I'm going to go through your website now though, that I know about the margin thing, but buffalo wings always sell out too. They're a hit, mate. That like my fiance Jen is obsessed with them. So it must be hard as well to make sure you have enough product too. Like you mentioned, 32 tons of meat going through 2 ton.
Yeah, 3.2
Yeah.
ton. And then the like you said, the first platform to get cuts, Uber.
Of course,
Like if we need in-house, we've got to take care of that. So generally that's how that would work. But, a lot of people there's so much barbecue offering now around, and it's quite cool because there's a lot of good barbecue that's being offered around now, not people that are just trying to make money out of it, you know. So that educates more people to eat more barbecue. So it's a win-win for everyone. So that's how we see it. If someone's prepared to work that hard, then they deserve it,
Yeah, right.
And happy smoking.
Yeah, nice. I've got a closing question on all these episodes. I've asked every guest that's come on so far. The question is, if you could go right back to the start, so we're thinking like all the way back when you're first smoking wood and things like that, you're about to leave as a chef and go and start this thing, and you could change one thing, what would that thing be? Just about your story or your journey, or make one decision differently or anything like that.
Change one thing. COVID.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It just obviously created some opportunities, but I imagine it was a pretty tough time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was. I mean, we're lucky because we get support from the local market, you know, and it was obviously a little bit more challenging for other people as well. Yeah, it was challenging for everyone, but I mean, it was a stalemate. For 2 or 3 years in business. It was a stalemate, and we were still working just as hard. And moving backwards. Yeah, I understand. We had in the first lockdown, I had more staff than clients because so many people put things on pause. And I made a call probably very similar to the one that you would make, where I was like, I'm just going to look after these people in terms of my staff, and I'm going to do the right thing by them, even if it ruins me. It's just the decision I'm going to make. Like, it's the one that I have to, but it was a pretty high pressure time. For sure.
But then I think probably the blessing with that is, instead of trying to cut huge costs with staff or lay people off or whatever, I was forced to be like, right, I need to go drum up some revenue. So I need to figure out who's buying ads right now and what's going on. And that turned into some of these, like that butcher story I told before, and some of the other deals we did through that time were pretty interesting.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah. Cool, man. Any closing notes? Anything you want to say to the listeners or anything like that?
No, just cool. Thanks for all your support over the years.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Smoking it up.
Through the website. Everyone who listens to this is ordering through the website from now on, not Uber Eats. Doesn't matter how easy it is.
Do it.
Yeah. Cool, man. Hey, thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome,
this was awesome. It was just as good as I thought it would be. If you've listened this far, thank you very much. Make sure you check us out on all our socials. Check out the other episodes, do all that sort of thing. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks again, Tristin.